Right. I'm gonna be talking a little bit about the 8Bitdo Ultimate 2 wireless controller. I've had this almost 2 weeks soon. You can even see it out. Very nice looking. I think I can show you. I can't show the dock right now, but it doesn't matter. And I'm going to focus a little bit on why I don't really think this is awesome. You just want a good wireless kind of Xbox controller. This is really solid. And back buttons are, let me turn this one off, yeah, so we don't have something weird happens. Back buttons are nice and clicky, works nice. Sticks feels a bit on the a little bit more resistance than my Gameser T4K, that I really love those sticks. Bit of mushy but not too crazy ABXY buttons. And you have select and start is everything. Clicky left and right button. You have, there you go, you can have full analog, they feel good. Again, a little bit more resistant than the Gameser T4K, but this feels nice, pretty decent throw and everything. I love the mode to switch, they make it really short, nice and quick. One thing to point out here is that this has like a click to it. It feels like very distinct, almost like pressing the ABXY. You kind of get that kind of click. When you turn off that the full range, you just have a smooth without any like button press click kind of feel. The right one, right trigger on the other hand, it's more like a mushy thing. It makes a sound, but it doesn't click. The left one, satisfying click feel. The right one just makes a bit of a sound, but doesn't really click. Doesn't bother me, but it's weird. Don't know why that is the thing. The D-pad feels a little bit like the ABXY button. Damn good feeling. Built-in battery is both good and bad. I would have preferred an, removable battery pack some kind of way. Good weight. I think my Steam controller might almost maybe be more lightweight. Yeah. This feels maybe a bit heavier, so the Steam controller even being a little bit lighter. The Steam controller is a little bigger, a bit chunkier. And it has built-in gyro, which we're gonna touch on. I want to touch on something first. Something that really struck my why is this working like this? And that is the polling rate. You just connect this. You can have this put on the charging dock, ready to go. If you just lift this one up or just turn it on, maybe I can showcase this. It will turn into Xbox mode. Let me do this. Let me see. All right. Go and let me. So this is a polling rate test, and you have you have the home page for it and everything. I might link it down, and it is recognized here with the gamepad mode, 8Bitdo Ultimate 2 wireless for PC. And if we press 1 here, we're gonna select this gamepad. It's the only one recognized at the moment. And we're gonna test just, go with the left. You know what? Let's try the right stick. I haven't tried the right stick. Shouldn't be any really significant difference, but go with the right stick. You just rotate it to see kind of what polling rate you get. So we smooch the right stick. There we go. 905. That is pretty damn good, right? It is advertised as being 1000 Hertz in the wireless mode. It's in the 2.4 gigahertz, dongle that is sitting within the USB charging dock connected to my computer through the USB-A plug. And this is excellent, right? There's nothing. If you run this in Bluetooth mode, you will get, I've tested this previously in a longer video, or after. Put the information below in it. But if you run this in Bluetooth mode, which is kind of required if you want to use all of the features with Steam, you will get around 700. No, it's not 700. You will get 120 Hz polling rate. And that is okay. The Steam controller is also 120 Hz. My mouse is 120 Hz. It's perfectly fine. It's nothing. I know people want higher, and I that if you are really, competitive or serious and stuff like that. But 120 Hz will give you around 8 milliseconds of latency, which is just no problem for me. It matches. It's kind of nice with my monitor's refresh rates being 120 Hz and everything. It feels very responsive. And having 1000 Hz here is crazy. So yeah, but again, let me turn this one off. Let me down first, right? Turn this one off. And so yeah. Let me check. So on the back here, you can see down there below, you have a little bit switch above these kind of 3 dots. That is the charging dock. It says, it has a little bit of like a kind of difficult to see, but on the left there is a Bluetooth symbol. So you switch this mode over to Bluetooth, and you need to have a separate Bluetooth dongle. The charging station is not a it's not a Bluetooth dongle. It's only a 2.4, specific for the 8Bitdo dongle. So you need to have a Bluetooth dongle in your computer. I have that, and then you can pair the 8Bitdo with the computer, and you just press the home button, you boot it up, and this controller has the back buttons, and it has also, I didn't mention it, these extra button here. I wish they could have been placed a little bit better. After 2 weeks, they still doesn't feel super natural to use. Maybe with a little bit more time, I don't know, but yeah, they're not great. I wonder again if the 8Bitdo Ultimate, or is it the Pro 3, if those that has buttons here, if that would have been more accessible. Yes. But yeah, to be able to use those, remap those to whatever you want in Steam, and to be able to use the gyro in Steam, gyro to mouse emulation for FPS games, which is amazing. You need to run this in Bluetooth mode. You get 120 Hz polling rate and a remap, and everything's fine. You just press the home button, off you go. But yeah, you need to have a separate Bluetooth controller. But there is, and this is kind of, like, in a way, it's decent, right? Because if you want this to have Steam support, you swap this one to the Bluetooth mode. And if you just want this to be an Xbox gamepad, you just switch it to the dongle mode, and it will be recognized as Xbox 360 controller, no gyro. You will get super fast polling rate and everything. So it's pretty decent. But there is another thing here that I haven't showcased yet, and there's no information. What I'm talking about now is going to be unofficial. There is no mention of this on their Steam, not Steam page, on homepage. These are like secret extra beta features or whatever. They can be really useful, so it might be really nice, because you might think, hey, 120 Hz is crap. I don't feel that. I think it's great, but I don't want to use this controller in Steam OS mode. I don't want to have that crappy 120 Hz mode. The good news is you don't have to. You just swap this to the 2.4 gigahertz mode, and you press down the B button and hold that down while you then press the home button. And now the controller turns on. I'm gonna open the polling rate window here. And we're gonna go to window capture. You can see it here. Now it doesn't say the same thing. It isn't recognized as 8Bitdo Ultimate controller anymore. It's just recognized as an 6-axis 24-button gamepad. This is now running in the kind of old classic direct input mode, and that mode is exactly the same as with the Bluetooth mode. And that just means that Steam can just see everything. You can have analog triggers, you can remap the left and right to keyboard, to gamepad, to whatever you want. You can have the gyro being emulating mouse for precision. So just by pressing and holding the B and home button here in when you are in the dongle mode, the 2.4 gigahertz mode, you get the same function as with the Bluetooth mode. But let me just go ahead and press the first controller. Let's do the right stick again. And then we do the same thing. We smooch it around. And now we got 583. Let me try it on the left stick for fun here. This. Fine. Let me just run it one more time. One. Try the left stick. Right, so you get 800 here on the left stick. Right stick, I don't know why it showed up as a little bit lower there at 580, but it doesn't really matter that much. The point here is, close this down. This. So the point is that you now get excellent input latency, right? Very low input. Instead of having 120 Hz, and you can remap and use this in Steam, and you have to have your own Bluetooth dongle, and Bluetooth, depending on your computer and the dongle, could be more or better or worse or something like that. The 2.4 gigahertz wireless dongle should be better in pretty much every aspect, because this is a dedicated one with support for lower input latency. And great tips if you don't have a Bluetooth dongle, or if just want that, feel that 120 Hz isn't really a good polling rate for you. This is a good secret thing. I don't know why this isn't official. It makes me a little bit like, scratching my head. This is working on the firmware version 106 at least. But yeah, so now you can remap this in Steam, you can do all of the kind of things that I mentioned, and you get a lot better, higher, polling rate. And I might, definitely is a good, very smooth gyro, at least with this mode. This is the mode I'm running. The problem here is that if you put this down on the dock and lift this one right up the dock, sometimes it will remember this mode, and that is great. You just place it on the dock, you lift it on the dock, you are in the same mode. But sometimes it will reset its gamepad. Then you're just jumping into the game and like, oh my god, my gyro or my buttons isn't correct anymore, and you have to close the game. You have to turn off. You have to turn off the gamepad. Wait for it. Wait. There we go. Now it's turned off, and you press the B, and then you press the home, and you have to reboot the controller, get into the game again. It's a bit annoying. So I don't know why they made this decision that Bluetooth is Steam with the gyro, because gyro is where you really need that high polling rate. You're gonna emulate mouse where you do a lot of motion. You want that to be as smooth as possible. Pressing the input, yeah, you want them to be directly, but they aren't in the same kind of way. They aren't constant. Definitely for the left left joystick, or right joystick, yeah, you can definitely want to have a higher polling rate, but for gyro, it is definitely more of a key thing. You want lots of good, exact gyro data to be helped to tweak and to get a stable and get it smooth and quick for aiming. So for them to just put that in Bluetooth mode and the Xbox mode being the kind of high advanced mode, to me makes no sense. And this is where it really comes down to the big thing that I've come to feel about this gamepad is, who is this for? Why did you not just do, hey, this is the PC version. You get the dongle and you get a switch on the back, right? A switch on the back that would just have been, default mode, Xbox mode. Have another position that is Steam OS mode. It works great, like again, if you hold B and press home, I had 0 issues. It works amazing. It feels super responsive, super smooth, polling rate is good and everything. So, again, have that as a mode. And now we're gonna come into another kind of, secret. And then I wish that they would have had another mode that would again use the dongle and be just Switch Pro mode. And why I would have liked to Switch Pro controller mode is just because of usability. Switch Pro controller has gyro built in. It doesn't support the rumble, the kind of vibration features of the controller, and it doesn't support analog, triggers. But you have a mode here, so you can turn this one into that short throw Switch Pro controller mode. And lots of like games and emulators and applications, they support the Switch Pro controller natively. And meaning that you get native gyro, gyro 6-axis gyro controller support in emulators and games in many of them. And you get support for the analog modes, and you get like the button layout and everything. And it would have been great. Really awesome. And this one doesn't officially have any Switch Pro controller support, but there is an unofficial that we're going to just dive into quick here. It's a bit weird. Like, again, they have an unofficial Switch Pro controller mode. And why didn't they just make it a normal default mode? This would have been my like probably more liked than the Games T4K. That runs amazing. It has a Switch Pro mode. I just on that controller you hold Y and press the home button, and it will be in the Pro controller mode. It remembered this mode. Even if you unplug it, it remembers that mode. It stays in that mode. You have great compatibility in many things on PC. And if you would have plugged it into a Switch, I guess it's gonna work there too. But this is again, when you do this multi weird decision, it just doesn't work great in any. This should just have been a PC with the dongle, with the Switch, and it would have been an awesome and great experience. Now, if you want to use this in unofficial, this is not mentioned anywhere, Switch Pro controller mode, you press the Y button and hold it down, and then you press the home button. This is in 2.4 gigahertz. This is not the Bluetooth mode, so you cannot like in a wireless way connect to your Switch like with normal Bluetooth mode. I believe that there is other controllers that the Switch Pro is Bluetooth by default and using like the 120 Hz polling rate. So now we're gonna start up this polling rate test again. And you can actually see here, right? This is great. A hidden, really cool mode. A Switch Pro controller mode. Nintendo Switch Pro controller, again, It's not over Bluetooth, and you can get this working on your Switch, but you need to use the kind of the adapters, and I haven't dug into that. And I wanted a PC controller, and I wanted just a pure PC controller, and I think they could have just done this much. So this is not in Bluetooth mode, this is in the dongle mode that we reach 6 to 800 hertz. And previously, and we was running this in the dongle with the default Xbox mode, you know, we went all the way up to over 900 hertz. But let's try this now in Switch Pro controller mode. Over 2.4 gigahertz wireless. So we select our Nintendo Switch Pro controller. Go with let's start with the right stick. I haven't tried that one. Right stick. And we smooch right stick around. I don't know if you can see this, but already now something is a little bit weird, right? It went a lot faster previously. Going, we keep going, we keep going. What the hell is going on? It just doesn't end, does it? Something is really interesting. We are keeping, we are smooching the right stick. Almost there. This is getting painful. Oh my god. It's kind of actually a little bit of getting tiresome trying to get this done. You're supposed to do this like smooth motion, but going this long is still a little bit of... It's starting to get difficult, but we are almost done. Almost. $40 milliseconds. This is also, I think this is kind of interesting. We're gonna run this test again, but it seems like the right stick in all of the modes, so far at least, kind of has a lower polling rate than the right stick. This makes me a bit interesting to see what is the gyro's input polling rate. But anyways, this is really terrible. And I'm curious, if you have... Do you have an 8Bitdo controller with Switch Pro controller support? What is your polling rate? Because this is really weird. I know, again, this isn't official, but I hope that they can tweak this mode and make it, you know, we want that like 6 to 800 polling rate for the left and right stick, and hopefully for the gyro too. Because yeah, this is really something really weird going on here that I'm not understanding, but we can do. What happens if you press this? Right. Okay, so we have the left stick. But you can see again, the left stick here is again really just as slow. Yeah, but I'm really curious, why is this mode? It's unofficial, it's not mentioned, but why is this so incredibly low polling rate? We're using the 2.4 gigahertz dongle. If we were over Bluetooth, I could see that, you know, oh hey, we only get like, you know, the 120 hertz or something like that. That's okay. But this is using the dongle. Why is that so bad? It's also interesting, why is the left and right stick different polling rate? And I'm gonna try to check out the gyro polling rate for fun in Xbox mode, just to see if we can kind of get some kind of motion controls, the gyro input, the polling rate of that one in some kind of what it is capable of. But this is terrible, and I just hope that again that they tweak this. And I'm curious if you have again, if you have an 8Bitdo controller that has Switch Pro support, what polling rate do you get? Is that also locked to... Here we go again. Right, so we got the same polling rate here, 40. So it should be that the left and right stick should be the same. Let me turn this one off. But this makes it really, really bad. I'm gonna start this in just normal Xbox 360 controller support. And we're gonna start this test again. I'm gonna try this one. Here we go. We test the right stick. Right. So we get the right stick being 940 Hz. So hopefully previous when I got just sticks 590 or something on the right stick, hopefully that was just an error. The right stick is definitely capable of 1000, polling rates. So let's try something for fun here. We're gonna do that. We're gonna try something. This one? That one, I think it's this one. Running again. Gonna try one test. Gonna test number 2. Yeah, okay, that is not working. Okay, let me just check something out. Sorry, real quickly here. I want to do a test here. I want to see if we can get the right stick too. I want to see this when you're running this in Xbox mode, you can use the built-in, the kind of 8Bitdo Ultimate 2 software, and you have like 3 profiles or 4. You have the default when the lamp are not being lit up, and then you have 1 or 2 or 3 of the lights lighting up being 3 different profiles. And you can use the gyro to set it to be emulating like the right stick for FPS games and stuff like that. And I want to try that and see if we can get some kind of reading. Just real quickly to end this video to see if I can get some kind of polling rate reading of the gyro here. So profile number 2 is set to be, there we go. Press 1 to enable. Okay. Okay, so it's the left. Let's go with the right one. Go. This is profile number 2. All right. See if we can start this again. Great. No. Capture. Go for one test. We're going to test the right stick. And oh, that. Interesting. So it is not. There we go. Right. So now we are testing the kind of. Oh, gyro to joystick. Right. Interesting. These are definitely not good numbers. We get an average polling rate of 89.65 Hertz. Which is actually really, really terrible. I really would like to try this in a different way to see if I could get some kind of numbers going here. I'm not sure how to do it, but all right. Like swirling this around. I'm trying to do like a circle to like imitate. I'm sure there is different tests out there that you might be able to use. Polling rate 89.36 Hertz. Yeah, not good. Again, I don't know if this is the polling rate of that. If this is the polling rate of the gyro or not. Let me just quickly do if I can find something here. Go. Close this one down. Okay. Okay. Cool, cool, cool. I'm going to show you this. Don't you worry. Right. We are going to. I'm going to turn this controller on again. I'm going to use B plus home. And you can see here, it's running now in the Steam mode over here. In the Steam mode over the 2.4 GHz dongle, we get 650 polling rate, the right stick. Again, it's a little bit weird. Oh, right. No, no, we don't want to do that. It's a little bit weird. There we go. Press 1, we press 1. It's a little bit weird that the polling rate is different. I get now 854 on the left stick. We get like 640 on the right stick. It's a bit weird that this is a little bit different, but it's not crazy. But if you run this in the normal just gamepad, Xbox gamepad mode, you get like 900 plus on both the left and right stick. And again, this isn't an official mode. You're running Steam mode over the 2.4 GHz wireless mode. It's not the official one, but it's weird. It's a weird thing here that it isn't reaching the same 950 like in the Xinput mode, the Xbox 360 mode. All right, but we are going to try something really quick. I have this now. It's connected. I'm gonna try something really, really quick. Just checking this one out. Bear with me. This. I don't wanna spoil anything until I've verified what's going on here. Oops, not that. Oh, right. Gyro is working. Don't hold on, hold on. I am going as fast as. You know what? It doesn't really matter. There we go. It doesn't matter. Let's go here. Yes, yes. Yeah, okay. This is good. And yo, this should work, right? It is working. Perfect. Let me just. Okay. Oh yeah. Oh. Okay. Okay. This is good. I'm gonna show you guys this now. What I am doing, and I'm gonna explain it to you. Go. So we're gonna capture a window. Perfect. So you can see here, you can see the home page, hopefully in the top left, what I'm doing here. This is a mouse polling rate test. But I think this has been quite interesting. It's showing some weird stuff with, again, it's showing some weird stuff with this controller going on. And I think they could have just done better if they just made a PC controller. So this is the G305, Logitech G305 mouse. It is running in low power mode, which means it is 120 Hz polling rate. So we start and we move it around, right? 120, 125. It's correct. It's going exactly. So it means that this test is pretty damn accurate. Accurate? Yeah, let's go with that. So if we do clear, what I've done is I have this. You can see I'm using this. I'm not using my mouse. I'm using the controller here to control the mouse pointer. And I can pause it by pressing a button. And I've used the Steam. This is in Steam input mode. So I'm using the Steam to gyro to mouse emulation. We're gonna now test the polling rate. We're gonna, try that one. I'm gonna have to use, not have to, we don't have to use it, but I'm just for this test, for the easeability, I'm going to use my mouse to start the test. Just clicking start. I'm not using the, there, we're gonna grab, see, this is, you can see here I'm moving it, and it is, both my hands are free. I'm only using this one to control, right? And you can see we get 450 to like 480, 90. Right? This is good. 500. So you get around 500 Hertz polling rate. And this is a good, smooth, solid gyro input. It feels precise, it feels direct, great. And this is much higher than the 120 Hertz default Bluetooth Steam mode. And again, this just makes me wonder why. So if you have this controller, I'm gonna do this for just a brief moment. My camera is glitching a little bit. But yeah, if you have the 8Bitdo Ultimate 2 controller and you like to use it in Steam mode, you should use the B plus Home and use it in the 2.4 GHz wireless mode. You will get much higher polling rate, and that is going to be really really beneficial when it comes to gyro. Gyro is great with higher polling rate for sure. And definitely nice to have higher than 120 Hertz. And this is a great controller when it comes to the hardware. But it's kind of weird, right? In Switch Pro mode, let me try this work. But this is kind of weird. When we are in Switch Pro mode, the unofficial one, we get 60 Hertz gyro, we get 60 Hertz from the sticks. And it's just why? It's really not feeling good. It's feeling very bad. And then we can use Bluetooth mode and you will get like 120 Hertz. It's like, why do we have a Bluetooth mode? Why does this have a Bluetooth mode? Why can we not just get a pure good PC controller? And that is really, after 2 weeks, that is what I really feel, that why couldn't they have made just a PC controller? I'm gonna be done here soon, so I apologize for my camera glitching. I don't know exactly why it does that. I try to like reset it by restarting it, but it doesn't always seem to work, unfortunately. But yeah, This would have been an amazing PC controller if we just had a 2.4 gigahertz dongle and we get like, the as close. I don't know why we can't get 900 hertz polling rate from the direct input mode, the Steam mode, the unofficial one. But hey, even 500 is a really good stalling polling rate. So again, just make this a PC controller with the dongle, have it being default Xbox mode, Steam OS mode, and the Switch Pro controller mode, and make them all like high polling rate as possible, and just use switch mode with a hardware button, not by trying to hold button or by switching to Bluetooth and all of that yankiness. And again, when you take it off the charging station, sometimes it remembers the mode and sometimes it forgets it. But that is fine because again, the switch mode, let me turn this one off, but the Switch Pro mode is unofficial. It's not stated that this controller supports that, so we shouldn't expect that. But it would have been really great to have it because again, clearly this controller has what is needed in the hardware, so why can we not get the software for it? And also, it's like, why are you not mentioning that we can get, by holding buttons, the Steam input mode with much higher polling rate, right? Instead of having that 120 hertz Bluetooth polling rate for the gyro and the presses, hold B, press home in the dongle mode, and now you have 500 hertz input polling rate, which is nice for a smoother experience of gyro. 120 hertz is fine, again, but the problem is that you have to have your own Bluetooth module in your computer. Not everyone has it. And also, different Bluetooth modules have different qualities. Some might be, better range, some might be worse with latency and bugs and drop out and in. Why not just make this for your wireless dongle? You know the quality of your wireless dongle. You know the kind of input you get from it. You know the range you get from it. You know how it works. You can tweak it, control it. This one is a little bit of an annoying controller because I'm going to be using the Steam input mode with 500 hertz. That means that sometimes, or I'm going to have to remember that if I lift this one off the charging dock, this turns automatically on. That means that I have to lift it off the dock, have to hold down the home button for like 5 seconds to turn it off, press B button and press the home button to then activate the proper Steam input mode. It's just extra annoying step to go through, but it gives me better smoothness. It's not super noticeable, but it's a little bit more smoother. And also, I don't have to flip this switch, and I don't have to have Bluetooth on in my computer just for this one accessory. I don't use Bluetooth for anything else then. So yeah, and I hope that in the future, I hope that they will improve the Switch Pro mode. The controller mode will be at least gyro and sticks, left and right sticks, 125 hertz. Because it would be great to get native good Switch Pro controller support for emulators and apps that just will not work with direct input, the Steam input mode, and to have native support for the gyro and everything would just be a nice quality of life extra feature. And I do hope that they will make this, hold B and press the home button official on their homepage so that more people knows that, hey, I can get a better experience from this controller by doing so. It has its downside that if you use the charging dock, it will forget that mode sometimes. But it's better still, for just the smoothness and polling rate and not having, like, you don't have to own your own Bluetooth adapter. So I hope they add some little information of it that, hey, this isn't something we recommend or something, but this is something that is built in the controller. So, because this could get bad reviews, right? If someone has a bad Bluetooth adapter and they connect this one with Bluetooth and the Steam input stuff, they are going to get first, 120 hertz polling rate or 1.5. But if they have a bad Bluetooth adapter, they might get drops after hitching, bad range, stuff like that. And it's not really the controller's fault. It could be just the Bluetooth adapter in your computer is bad. So 8Bitdo, if you're gonna do like an Ultimate 3 version, can we please get just a PC version? Right? I would love if we could have a battery that could be removable. I would love it if we just have, again, a hardware switch that is Xbox, the gamepad mode, Steam input mode, direct input mode, and the Switch Pro controller mode. Just accessible on the back. Charging dock is great. You just lift this, on and off, and you can, switch modes if you need it. And, you can remove the battery and everything like that. And use this, because why I want a removable battery is because that would mean that this is support for wireless. Or for a wired. I haven't talked about that because the wire that is coming with this controller is really short. It's like, like 1.2 meters or something like that. It's not really usable. And the other thing is that if you're using this controller wired, you will only be able, as far as I know, in all the testing I've done, if you're using this wired, there is no way for you to access the gyro in Steam input or Switch Pro controller mode or in like direct input mode. The gyro is only through the emulation of the application to emulate the left and right stick, which is not really ideal for my use case. It's not, to be clear, the gyro is nice, but the gyro to joystick emulation is never going to be as good as having the gyro to mouse emulation through the Steam input or having native gyro support in games. That is just going to be much better. Everything, like even this one, if you run this in the Switch Pro controller mode, that is like 40 to 60 hertz input polling rate, the gyro is still better, if used for like aiming and looking around, than it is by using the gyro to joystick emulation. So it's a shame that when you plug this wired in, it is only limited to the gamepad, the default Xbox layer. And again, if you had a hardware switch, that would be fixed. You plug the wired in, the switch is in Xbox mode, it is Xbox mode. Plug it in the wired, it is in the Steam input mode, it would be Steam input with gyro available to Steam input. You have it in the Switch Pro mode and you plug it in and it would now be just a normal Switch Pro controller. And it just, would get support for native gyro in apps and emulators and stuff like that. And that is also sad because I wanted this for the gyro support. That means that when the built-in battery dies, this is just scrap, is waste, because then what the feature I want to use is now not usable. I would have to like try to pry this open and like change the battery and stuff, and it couldn't been fixed. Again, PC controller with a hard switch on the back and everything would have been fixed. So that is my feelings after 2 weeks with this. A great controller held back by some weird design choices that just doesn't make sense to me. You can never do a controller that is going to be great on consoles and PCs. You should do controllers that are great on consoles, and you should do controllers that are great on PC. Sometimes they can overlap, right? If you make a controller that is an Xbox that works great on the Xbox controller, so they might still work on PC. But you shouldn't limit yourself by making a controller that, we're making a PC controller, but it has to work on something else. It has to work on, Xbox. It has to work on Switch or something like that. just a pure, good, solid PC controller. If it works on something else, that's just a happy bonus. Just like if you make a really solid Switch Pro controller, it would just be a bonus if that also works on PC. And yeah, to remedy this, I would throw the Bluetooth mode away, and I would then just have a hardware switch on the back, and I would then also make a Bluetooth only controller with the hardware switch on the back. People can then choose. I think Bluetooth is better for me. I don't mind lower polling rate. I want that controller. Or they could go for the PC only because, hey, I don't mind having this little extra charging dock or, the dongle on my PC, but I will get better polling rate also. So yeah, comfortable, lots of cool features. It just doesn't really come to bed. It doesn't come together in the best way. I still preferred how my Gameser T4K works. I think it just works better. You always switch mode by pressing, one of these ABXY buttons on the home, and it switch modes. And it will remember that. Like I unplugged it for like 1.5 weeks. And yesterday I plugged it in again, and it remembered it is in Switch Pro mode. Works great. The only problem with that controller is the back buttons. They are very low quality, and one of them are really not feeling good. Otherwise, I would not have gotten this one. Because the Gameser T4K is wired only, but it is super lightweight. It has super nice sticks. The buttons on the D-pad and the ABXY are clicky, but I like it. Very good feeling. That controller does not have this kind of short throw, but the triggers on that one is so soft and sensitive that it doesn't really matter to me. The only downside on that controller is the back buttons, and this one feels much like more solid with the buttons and everything. But this is just being held back by the software and the design choices between the Bluetooth and the wireless mode. Leave your thoughts if you have this controller. Leave your polling rate if you have for your, other 8Bitdo Switch Pro compatible controller. I would love to if every 8Bitdo controller with Switch Pro support, if that is just limited to like 40 or 60 hertz, or if something in the hardware that just is limiting that. Again, it's unofficial mode, but I'm just curious to see if the polling rate there, if it is different for this specific controller, or if it is just that every 8Bitdo controller in Switch Pro mode that just are limited to 60 hertz, which is terrible. That just be 125, that is a nice good thing. That's where diminishing returns for me. I can't really tell a huge things different, but having higher polling rate is definitely nice, especially for gyro with lots of small movement and stuff. So I would really love more tests on the polling rate on the 8Bitdo Switch Pro controller modes, just to see what's going on. Because if every 8Bitdo controller out there with Switch Pro mode is limited 40 to 60 hertz, that means that they can't fix it. The hardware is something. But if there is other 8Bitdo controllers there that has a Switch Pro mode and works with PC, right? And are reaching like 125 hertz or higher, that means that maybe they can tweak this secret beta unofficial feature in upcoming firmware patches, so we can get a Switch Pro controller mode. Because even with this, like the bugs here that I have to like turn it off and on the controller and stuff, it is a great controller. It just could have been an awesome controller. And if we get a good solid Switch Pro controller mode with good high polling refresh, it would take this to be an okay controller, to be in okay, it has some sides, but it's a great controller, and it could have been a super great controller with just some tweaks. that's it for this video. Longer than expected, I do apologize, but there's a lot of things to talk about because I really wanted to really love this one. But maybe I should have gone for, again, the Pro 3 controller. I don't know. Maybe that would have been a more seamless experience. And maybe in the future I will try to check it out. But I'm going to keep going with this one, even though the little downsides to it. I'm gonna hope that firmware comes out and hopefully we get better Switch Pro secret mode. You know, you get a dream. But thanks for watching. Leave a like, a comment. Again, I will love polling rate test if you have an 8Bitdo controller with Switch Pro mode. And you know, you can keep an eye on my channel if you want to maybe see this controller being used in some upcoming games. It's not going to be exclusive to this controller. FPS games, I do tend to really still prefer my OG Steam controller. But I'm going to try to, you know, incorporate this in FPS games also, and I'm going to be using this for sure for like the majority of my 2D gaming and racing games and stuff like that. So you might want to check back to the channel to see how, you know, how this is working in games like that. Thanks for watching. Have a great day and bye for this time.